Have you ever felt you're following a script you didn't write? A dissonance, almost a glitch in your perception of reality that others seem to ignore? What if this feeling isn't about you being broken, but about you beginning to awaken? In the moments to come, we will dismantle the architecture of an invisible mind cage that may be limiting your cosmic potential. You will discover ancient keys, not to escape the world, but to unlock your true self within it. Psychologists observe that the dissonance between the authentic self and societal pressures is a growing source of anguish. You are not imagining this pressure. When was the last time your intuition whispered something that the world's logic tried to silence? That feeling of being different, of not quite fitting in, isn't a personal failing. It can be the first sign that you're perceiving the very texture of a constructed reality. Let's call this construction the mind cage. Not a sinister plan, but an ecosystem of consensus, a complex web of cultural norms, societal expectations, and internalized narratives that functions much like an operating system for our collective consciousness. And often this OS is outdated for souls seeking a faster evolution. Consider how this mind cage manifests. It might be the subtle pressure to choose a safe career over a true passion, the constant barrage of information that breeds more confusion than clarity, or the unspoken fear of voicing unpopular truths. Think of the groupthink phenomenon, the relentless quest for validation on social media, or the self-imposed glass ceilings we internalize. These are the initial bars of the cage being subtly forged around us. This sense of being trapped or having your unique, out-of-the-box perceptions invalidated isn't a personal defect. It's the natural friction that occurs when an expanding soul brushes against the confines of this structure. The critical question then becomes, how can we recognize the architecture of this cage in our own lives? Not to feel victimized by it, but to become the architects of our own expansion. Ancient philosophy, such as Plato's allegory of the cave, explored this very idea millennia ago, a perceived reality versus a deeper underlying truth. This isn't a modern crisis, but a timeless journey of the soul seeking its authentic expression. This feeling of misalignment you experience is often a profound signal. It suggests an inherently expansive consciousness, what we might call a cosmic soul, attempting to operate within restrictive paradigms. Imagine your soul not as a simple radio seeking a clear frequency, but as a quantum supercomputer. It's designed to process multidimensional realities, to access vast potentials, yet it finds itself trying to run on a binary, linear operating system imposed by the mind cage. Naturally, there will be compatibility errors, a noticeable lag, and the persistent feeling that your immense capabilities are being stifled. This mind cage, this matrix of consciousness, is woven through the repetition of patterns, cultural, familial, educational. The suppression of your unique intelligence or sensitivity occurs when this societal operating system fails to recognize or simply doesn't value the advanced capacities of your individual quantum supercomputer. The Gnostic concept of the demiurge can be understood here not as a malevolent entity, but as a philosophical metaphor. It represents the tendency of the collective mind to create and cling to systems of order, the mind cage itself, even when these systems limit the full expression of the original light or consciousness. Research in social psychology on habit formation and resistance to change, known as the status quo bias, echoes this human inclination to stick to familiar, established patterns, even if they are limiting. Your ability to perceive the flaws, the bugs in this societal operating system isn't a defect in your own programming. It is your advanced soul detecting the inherent limitations of an outdated structure. And here lies a profound insight, doesn't it? Think of historical innovators, visionary scientists like Tesla, or social reformers who dared to dream of a more just world. They were often initially misunderstood, even marginalized, precisely because they operated far beyond the operating system of their times. History consistently shows us that this perceived misalignment often precedes significant breakthroughs. What then is your own misalignment trying to communicate to you about the next stage of your own evolution? Which applications of your soul, your unique talents, your deepest intuitions, your most fervent passions, feel as though they are crashing or running impossibly slowly due to the limitations of this societal operating system? The mind cage perpetuates itself, in our modern era, through what we might call the algorithmic noise. This is the relentless, curated stream of information designed to capture attention, validate existing biases, and ultimately make it incredibly challenging to access our own inner stillness. Beyond this noise, however, resides your self-superior, your Yusu, your Christ consciousness, your Buddha nature. These are simply names for your direct, incorruptible connection to the universal source of wisdom, your truest inner guidance system. The algorithmic noise, the constant notifications from the cage, those societal pressures, those induced fears, intentionally divert our focus from the subtle yet profoundly powerful frequency of the self-superior. This isn't always a conscious conspiracy, but often a byproduct of systems built around external engagement rather than fostering internal growth. Consider the stories of countless artists, inventors, and mystics throughout history. They often report their greatest breakthroughs, their most profound insights, not during moments of frenetic activity, but in periods of quietude, reverie, or even after a creative block forced them to pause. Psychology validates this through the concept of incubation in creativity. It is precisely in these sacred, uncluttered spaces that the signal of the self-superior can finally break through the pervasive static. Therefore, the first crucial step in tuning into this divine frequency is the conscious creation of zones of digital and mental silence. This is akin to putting your quantum supercomputer into a diagnostic and optimization mode, allowing it to recalibrate to its original untainted programming. On a scale of 1 to 10, how easy is it for you, in your current daily life, to find even a few moments of absolute silence, free from screens and external demands, simply to listen to your own deepest thoughts and feelings? The first ancestral key to navigating and transcending the mind cage is what we call energetic discernment. This is the crucial, often underdeveloped ability to filter the cacophony of information and environmental energies, identifying what truly resonates with your inner truth and what is merely interference from the cage. The Hermetic principle of mentalism, the all is mind, the universe is mental, can be understood practically here. Every piece of content you consume, every news report, every conversation carries an energetic signature. This signature is based on the intention and the level of consciousness behind its creation. Your own mind cage was partly constructed by unconsciously internalizing energetic signatures that were not authentically yours, that did not align with your deepest essence. The mind cage, you see, thrives on a diet of junk food for the mind and spirit, narratives rooted in fear, content designed to polarize, and the relentless promotion of a superficial consumer-driven existence. To cultivate this discernment, we can employ a simple yet profound technique, the soul's resonance test. First, pause and center. Before you consume a piece of information, or as you find yourself reacting to a situation, take 3 deep, conscious breaths. Bring your awareness to the very center of your chest, the sacred space of your heart. Second, ask the inner question. Silently or aloud if you prefer, ask, does this information, this energy, this situation expand my inner light, or does it diminish it? Does it align with who I truly am at my deepest core, or does it pull me towards a pattern of fear, limitation, or inauthenticity? Third, sense the intuitive response. Pay close attention to the subtle feedback from your body and your intuition. You might feel a sense of lightness, an opening, an expansion. This is resonance. Or you might feel a heaviness, a contraction, a sense of unease. This is dissonance. Trust this initial, often instantaneous impression. Contemporary research into heart intelligence and cardiac coherence increasingly validates the body's capacity for this kind of intuitive knowing. The aim here is not to retreat into isolation, but to empower yourself with conscious choice. It's about deciding which downloads you permit into the sacred operating system of your inner being. The second ancestral key involves two interconnected principles: mental sovereignty, which is your inherent right to govern your own inner kingdom, and conscious reprogramming, the active, intentional rewriting of the mind cage's limiting code within you. Mental sovereignty begins with a foundational understanding. Your mind is not a public thoroughfare, open to any stray thought or external influence. It is your most sacred sanctuary, and you are the guardian at its gate. To strengthen this sovereignty, you can employ timeless techniques adapted for our understanding today. Consider creating a firewall of the soul. Visualize a permeable membrane of brilliant golden light completely surrounding you. This shield is intelligent. It allows love, wisdom, and authentic connection to flow freely, while repelling and transmuting dissonant, manipulative, or fear-based energies. Another powerful practice is the decree of the I Am. These are not mere positive affirmations, but potent declarations of your essential truth, your divine identity. For instance, I am the lucid and sovereign presence in my mental universe. I choose clarity. I choose peace. I choose alignment with my highest self. Then comes conscious reprogramming, the deliberate act of rewriting your internal source code. Begin by identifying a belief virus, a limiting conviction that you've likely carried for years, perhaps even lifetimes. An example might be, I need external approval to feel worthy, or it's dangerous to be truly myself. These are echoes from the mind cage. Neuroscience beautifully demonstrates the principle of neuroplasticity, the brain's remarkable ability to forge new neural pathways and connections at any age. Each time you consciously interrupt a limiting thought pattern and replace it with an empowering truth, you are literally rewiring your brain, creating new pathways to freedom. Here, the ancient art of inner alchemy offers profound wisdom. It's the process of taking that limiting belief, the lead of old conditioning, observing it without judgment, understanding its origins, often rooted in past protection mechanisms or childhood conditioning, and then consciously transmuting it into the gold of a new liberating understanding, one that is in harmony with your self-superior. For example, my worth is inherent, a radiant light emanating from within, independent of any external validation. And in this, your perceived difference, your heightened sensitivity, becomes your greatest asset. These qualities are the perfect attributes for detecting the bugs in the collective mind cage's programming. As you liberate yourself, you naturally illuminate the path for others to do the same, fulfilling a quiet yet profound soul mission. Let us now weave these threads together, connecting the profound experiences we've explored. That initial feeling of misalignment, that sense of your quantum supercomputer soul signaling its incompatibility with the outdated operating system of the mind cage. The algorithmic noise designed to distract and disorient, the unwavering guiding presence of your self-superior, and the ancestral keys of energetic discernment and mental sovereignty, your tools for deprogramming and courageous realignment. Here we arrive at the core revelation, the great unlocking. Your true self, your cosmic soul, was never truly locked away or broken. It was merely compressed. Imagine an infinitely vast, luminous file of your unlimited potential, a zip archive of divine magnificence, patiently waiting for the decompression command from your own awakened consciousness to fully expand and reveal its splendor. The mind cage, with all its seeming power, is not an impenetrable external fortress. It is, in its essence, a collection of self-imposed and internalized programming files. Its seemingly solid walls are constructed from your own unexamined thoughts, your unhealed fears, your unowned power. And the profound truth is, you hold the administrator privileges. You have the inherent capacity to delete, to rewrite, and to install new programs, new beliefs, new perceptions that are in perfect harmony with your soul's expansive nature. The feeling of liberation that accompanies this understanding is immense. The struggle against the system begins to dissolve when you realize that the true revolution is, and always has been, an internal one. Your difference, that which perhaps once felt like a burden or a bug, is now revealed as your unique signature of genius. It is your master key to decompress your full potential and courageously rewrite the rules of your game from the inside out. This journey, then, is nothing less than a fundamental system upgrade of your consciousness, a shift from being a passive user, unknowingly running outdated and limiting programs, to becoming a conscious programmer, an active architect of your own reality. Now that we've glimpsed the vastness that awaits beyond the mind cage, let's anchor this understanding in a simple, tangible practice, one that allows you to actively engage in this great unlocking every single day. We'll call it the decompress.exe command, an acronym for energetic expansion exercise. Here are the steps designed to be easily integrated into your daily rhythm. First, the intention of decompression. This takes about 1 minute. Upon waking, or just before you begin a significant task, gently close your eyes. Mentally, or even in a soft whisper, state your intention. I now activate the decompression command for my true self. I willingly allow my infinite potential to expand within and through me. Feel the sincerity of this declaration. Second, the soul's breath. Allow about 2 minutes for this. Inhale deeply and slowly, imagining that you are drawing in the pure, limitless, life-giving energy of your self-superior directly into your physical body, into every cell. As you exhale, just as slowly and completely, visualize yourself releasing any corrupted files, any residue of fear, doubt, limitation, or any energy that is not authentically yours. With each breath cycle, feel more space opening up within you, a sense of inner expansion. Third, the affirmation of expansion. This takes another minute. Speak aloud if possible, or hold firmly in your mind, an affirmation that resonates with your expanding state. For example, I am more vast than any cage. My reality expands in harmony with my awakened consciousness. Or choose a personal affirmation that powerfully declares your freedom and potential. This brief daily ritual is akin to running an optimization program for your soul. It progressively decompresses more of your innate potential, strengthens your energetic sovereignty, and makes it increasingly easier to identify and consciously disengage from the malware of the mind cage. And as you practice, you will find that your capacity for deep analysis, once perhaps a source of frustration within the confines of the cage, now becomes your invaluable ally. It transforms into a discerning tool, helping you to precisely identify those system files of belief and behavior that are ready for an upgrade, or perhaps a complete and joyful replacement. Remember this always: the mind cage, however convincing it may seem, loses its power when you recognize that the chief programmer of your reality is, and always has been, you. Your true self, in all its brilliance, is waiting to be fully unzipped, fully expressed in the world. As the great American thinker Ralph Waldo Emerson so wisely reminded us, to be yourself in a world that is constantly trying to make you something else is the greatest accomplishment. And today, you hold the keys, the ancient and ever-new tools for this very accomplishment. So, I leave you with this to contemplate, a gentle inquiry for your continued journey. What is the very first compressed file of your unique potential, perhaps a dormant talent, an unspoken truth, a dream long set aside, that you will choose to begin decompressing this week? If this journey of decompression has resonated deep within your soul, please honor that connection by clicking the like button and subscribe to Mystic Sages to continue expanding your consciousness with us. Share this video with other souls you feel might be ready to unlock their own magnificent potential. And in the comments below, we would be honored if you would share. What is the file name, a talent, a dream, a quality of your true self that you are most excited to fully decompress and bring forth into the world? Your story, your intention, is a beacon of inspiration,